So, so let's kick off. We are talking about the high. If you can see my screen, please type yes in the comment section to be sure that you're on point. Type yes to the comment section if you can see my screen. Okay, thank you, Mr. Felix. Thank you, Mr. Dane. Okay, thank you, Mr. Andrew. Okay, thank you, Wisdom. Okay. So we are at 1 p.m. news today for British pounds, and today we are going to talk about the Bank of England. The Bank of England by 1 p.m. today, we're going to see a high impact news. Please and please, traders, whatever part of the world you are connecting from, give attention to this GBP. Talking about the Bank of England, because a lot of discussion, a lot of conference meetings and call is going to be discussed today by 1 p.m. with the president of the Bank of England, talking about the British pounds. They're going to discuss about the purchasing of the facility on their industry. They are going to talk about their monetary policy. They are going to talk about the asset purchase facility votes. They are going to talk about the financial bank rate votes and their monetary. They are going to summarize what they have discussed concerning the monetary policy report. So if you look where they are, let me indicate. If you look here, there is a discussion that hawkish discussion about the Bank of England, about the monetary policy reports. Now, after discussing about the monetary policy report, they are going to give a summary of what they have discussed. Later on, that same 1 p.m., they are going to give a summary report, a summary policy report about what they discussed about the monetary policy report. Now, on that same 1 p.m., they are going to give a report concerning their official bank rates, if they are going to reduce it or they are going to increase it. Now, this is what, for those of us who join our classes, from yesterday around 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock, we discussed about hawkish statements. Now, the reason why it is called hawkish statement is because it's a discussion, a decision made by not just one person, but as a body, depending on the department. So that is why they are talking about the asset purchase facility. They are talking about the asset purchase facility votes and the bank rate votes. Then they are going to discuss about the monetary policy report, and that's at 1 p.m. and give a summary of what they have discussed, of what they have decided, and give a summary of the policy, monetary policy. And lastly, and that monetary summary they are going to give is going to affect their official bank rates. Hope that is understood. Now, the reason why traders need to give attention to this particular discussion made by the Bank of England, or with the president or the chairman of the Bank of England, is because the total value of money of the Bank of England will create and use to purchase government assets in the open market. Now, due to the discussion, they have come to an agreement. They are going to use some assets in purchasing goods and services for the government in the open market. That is, they are going to go into the open market to get some assets which are going out for auction prices. So as a result of doing so, it increases the demands of bonds, which is usually leads to lower long-term interest rates. So that is why we need to give attention to this 1 p.m. news. That's a very high impact news. So if the actual is lesser than the forecast, that is to say it is good for the British pounds. Now let's quickly jump into the conclusion of this discussion. Now, not that we are going to get the conclusion here right now, but around 1:30 p.m., we are expecting a report. We are expecting a report from Bailey, which is the president of the Bank of England. Now, let's quickly flash back yesterday. Hope you are following us. For those of us who are joining us from England, don't forget, this is brought by you by CJC Markets. Now, looking about yesterday report about Bailey's report on the president of Bank of England. Yesterday, he reported about the price interest rates about the British pounds, and the Bank of England policymaker, they gave an headline concerning the recent business they have been doing right now. So the governor, which is Bailey, testified that the UK Parliament Treasury said that the committee, which is conversing with the British pounds governor, which is Bailey, on Wednesday, said that the UK labour market is concerned and the political government has to put pressure on their wages negotiation. Now, yesterday we discussed about hawkish statements. Now, hawkish statement is a type of statement that is not direct. We discussed about how we can interpret such statement. Now, the governors made mention about yesterday that the UK labour market is a concern to them and has the potential to put upward pressure on wage negotiation. That is to tell you that they are making an agreement, or they are considering negotiating the wages negotiation using the US labor policy. That is an hawkish statement. To some of us, it might be confusing. So let's move over for today's own. Let's see what the Bank of England has for us. So today we watch out for Bailey speaks around 1:30 p.m. So it's an high impact news. So we should work out for it. So if the actual is lesser than the forecast, it is good for the currency. If the actual is greater than the forecast, it is good for the currency. Since, like I said yesterday, the governor of the Bank of England, the Bank of England, gave a speech about the US labor. Now, that is why it is influencing the news around 1:30 p.m., but it is not a high impact news. It's just a summary of what they discussed about the challengers job cuts. They are going to cut off some jobs because they have made some decision concerning the wages negotiation. So that is it. So by 1:45 p.m. today, we are going to get a high impact news on euro, based on the main refinancing rates, and they are going to talk about the monetary policy statements on euro. Now, 2:30 p.m., we're going to see another high impact news on the press conference for euro, talking about the interest rate statement. So we're going to look a little bit about the European Central Bank, which is the ECB, the European Central Bank. That is what we are going to look out for. So that is what we're going to look out for. So let's quickly move on to, okay. If you can see my screen, please type yes to be sure that you are following up. If you can see my screen, type yes. If you can see my screen, type yes. Okay, nice. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So let's move on. We have a very long way to go on our daily analysis today. So we're gonna see, after talking about the news on Euro, talking about the European Central Bank, which is the ECB. We're gonna, in 2:30 p.m. we are gonna talk about Euro, also talking about the same European Central Bank, talking about the press conference about the European Central Bank. So there will be a press conference today around 2:30 p.m. About the European Central Bank. So take note for that. So it's an hawkish statement. So take note for that. If the actual is greater than the forecast, that is, it is good for the euro. So take note and see how you can dissect that information and turn them to liquidity and make money in the forex market. I'm so sad today that no one eats my $20 this morning. It's so sad that no one knows that today is a bank holiday. It's so sad. So this is some vital information into give attention to. So around that same 2:30 today, we're going to see a low, which is a medium impact news. Talking about the unemployment claims. And we are going to talk about the non-farm productivity. That same 2:30 about the USD. We want on that same USD, we want to talk about low impact news about the unit labor cost. And 3:45 p.m. today, we want to see a low impact news about the finance service. If the actual is greater than the forecast, then it is good for USD. 4 o'clock today p.m. you're going to see a high impact news talking about the institutional supply management, which is known as the ISM, the Institution for Supply Management. For those of us who are joining us from our WhatsApp, from the conference call, Mr. Randy from India, hope you're following up. Okay, type yes if you can see my screen. Okay, thank you very much for those of us joining us. This is brought by you by CJC Markets. So, 4 o'clock today, we're going to see a high party concerning the institution supply management. So, if the actual is greater than the forecast, then it is good for the currency. So later on, that 4 o'clock p.m., we're going to see a low impact concerning the factory orders. 4:30 about the US dollar, the natural gas storage. Then 10:45 p.m., we'll talk about the New Zealand, which is the building consents. So thank you today for joining us for our fundamental analysis. So take note today, we're going to talk about different aspects of the market. So we basically today, the GBP is a celebrity pair currency for today. So watch out for what the GBP is doing, but be very, very careful when analyzing, when looking out for this GBP against any other quote currency, or be it the base or the quote. Look out for it, because every statement being made here is an hawkish statement. That is to say, there will be a discussion, a group about the Bank of England, about the Spanish government, the European government, the German government, and the France government. So take note of it. They are going to look at all the aspects of it. That is why they have the bank holiday, so they'll be able to discuss this information and see how they can, if they can reduce or increase their interest rates. Now, for those of us, sorry, let me just quickly look into the interest. For those of us who doesn't understand the word interest rates, let me just quickly glance through. Hope you can hear me for those of us joining us from WhatsApp. Okay, let's go on. Now, interest rate simply means the portion of a loan that is charged on as an interest to the borrower. Now, to the banking industry, interest rate is said to be interest rate is said to be the amount the lender charges to the borrower, or a certain percentage the principal attached to a loan to the borrower. So that is it for interest rates. I think from there you can dissect that information. So for those of us who are hearing interest rate, I hope you have finally understood what interest rate simply means. So let's quickly move on to our technical analysis. Let's move over to our technical analysis. So I'm going to share my screen now. I'm going to share my screen now to my charts. To my charts. Okay. 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 If you can see my screen, please type 111. If you can see my screen, please type 111. Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Danny. Thank you very much, Wisdom. Thank you very much, Mr. Felix. Okay. Okay, thank you. So, okay. So now, let's go over to our British pounds. Let's go to our celebrity pair for today and see what it has for us. So we'll be using GBP USD. We'll be using GBP USD. Use it, okay. Let's put it on our daily charts. Okay. Wow, the market is really doing good. So what we should look at for our GBP USD, first of all, we are on our daily charts. We are on our daily chart. So let's define our trend. So let's quickly go to our trend line and first of all define our trend. But for today, this is our trend, but it has created a new high. It has created a new high. But let's keep it here. Let us be more on our trend. So let's keep it around here. This is our trend. So it's a bearish trend. So let's quickly map out our supply and demand zone. Our supply and demand zone, and see where we can possibly see a reversal. So we have a zone precise. So okay, let's keep it to the most recent, not most recent. Let's keep around here because it has respected this zone. This is our zone. That's why market was able to get to this. Market was able to get to this particular point in price and went if another opportunity for a buy went to this particular zone again. There was a price rejection at this particular point in price and went down, and it creates now, market is creating what is called lower highs and lower lows. We have our first resistance zone, which is also very important. It's a clear zone. We have a zone, we have a resistance here to the sellers and serve as a support to the buyers. So at this particular point, this is our first zone. Let's map out our resistance zone. We have another resistance. This is another resistance. We have another resistance. Remember, like we discussed yesterday, a support can be a resistance, and a resistance can also be a support. If the market is going bullish, then it is a resistance for the sellers and serve as a support to the buyers. So, but today, looking at the GBP pair, we are looking at that the market is going to be moved or going to be influenced basically on our fundamentals. So we'll quickly give a possible movement that the market is going to give. So looking at our supply and demand, because support and resistance zone, when there is a very high impact, sometimes the market could be crazy and the market could not just give you what you really want, but the market will move to the particular kind of style that's probably to be moving sideways. So look out for the fundamental basically. For the technical analysis, what we'll be looking at for is our zone, our sensitive zone. So market will be breaking a lot of support. I will be breaking a lot of resistance because of the high impact news you're going to look out for based on the British pounds. So since we have mapped out our supply and demand zone, this is our another zone we need to look out for. So it is likely to say that market gets to the particular zone, rejects downwards, getting to this resistance. Now, this support, this resistance is serving as a resistance to the sellers and serving as a support to the buyers. The market bounced upward. If you look at here, there was a candlestick here. So let's not go into candlestick, but there was a support to the buyers. If you look at the news yesterday, a low impact news on GBP, that was what led the movement, the price rejection from the sellers, and the buyers took over the control. So at this juncture, the price moved upward, but because of that, we have a zone here. So there is a possibility that the market will consolidate. There will be a price order building here. Then another expansion, like we discussed, market have four rules that it always moves. Now we have the market, which is called consolidation. The market will first of all consolidate. Now, when we talk about consolidation, the market is building order, looking for where to seek liquidity. When we talk about liquidity, we're talking about actual funds, real money. So that is it. So after consolidation, we expect an expansion. After the expansion, now the expansion does not give you where the market will likely go. It is in the market, in technical analysis, we call it fake out. So after the expansion, the market will either go bullish or bearish. That is the four rules of market movement, especially when for those of us who are trading with our market structure. So consolidation, expansion, then the market will either go bullish or bearish. Hope you can follow enough for those of us who are joining us from WhatsApp. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. So there was a zone here, the market sold down below, and there was a price rejection here. The market moved up to that zone again, but not here. For those of us who are using our supply and demand zone, using our equilibrium Fibonacci, we should use this to map out our discount and discount zone and supply zone. So for those of us using our equilibrium, we'll be buying at a discount rate and selling at a premium price. So if market, we are saying that if market gets to this, there was a price projection here. Let me map out that. Sorry, there's another zone here. There's another zone here. There's another zone here. There's another zone here, and here, and here, here, and here. So that is why market is consolidating at this point. So if market, this resistance though is not strong, if the market breaks to here and gets to this particular zone, we are expecting price to fall. But this is based on the technical analysis. But today on the British pounds, the market is going to basically move by the fundamentals because we have several high impact news because of our bank holiday. So there are some series of decisions they are going to make. So we're going to give attention basically to our fundamentals. So by 1 pair 30 p.m., if the actual is greater than the forecast, it is good for GBP. So if it is good for GBP, for example, GBP USD we are looking at for, that is to say GBP should be buying USD. But if it's not good for the GBP, then USD should be buying GBP and GBP will be selling USD. So take note for that. So let's quickly move on to gold. For our gold traders yesterday, they smiled at our office. Yesterday, we did at here we did live from a couple of today. Live for those of us who traded on the WhatsApp group. It's a very nice one for beautiful. So let's quickly map out our supply and demand zone. This is a resistance zone. Remember, a resistance can be a support, and a support can be a resistance. Let's quickly map out. This is another zone. This is another zone. We have a zone. We have a zone. We have a zone. We have a zone here. 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 So watch out for this zone. Like we said, the reason why we are mapping out our zone is not for the usefulness of the today, but later on in the future. Now a reversal price, but a reversal price. For those of us who are swing trader, it is good for us to map up our zone so that we'll be able to look at what we should expect in the market. So we are saying that if market is likely going on a consolidation at this particular point in time, because the market moves, it's a very huge range. It's a very huge range. Market sold down to here, and this is called a void. Market needs to fill in this void, and due to the process of that, the market is moving in market structure. Look at it here. This is M. For those of us who are trading market structure, this is M. So the market move bullish direction, sold down here, move upward, and get to this particular point in price. Now the market have moved a price rejection at this particular range. Now the market is moving at a bullish direction. Now price rejects as of here, which is from as of last week. Price rejected from here and sold down to here. That was when gold was selling. I think from Monday, gold was selling really, really good. So the price have started moving upward, heading towards this zone. So we are saying that, but there is a resistance here. If it is able to break this resistance, price is heading down to this zone. And surely price will reject at this particular zone and sell back. But if it doesn't break this resistance zone, then price will go down and test this low and move upward, just as what happened here. The same thing happened here. And if price rejects at this particular point in price, it's going to test this same low and move upward again. So you can say this particular zone is a very sensitive one to the market. That is it for gold. So go in your lower time frame and look for a very good entry point where you can execute a trade. So that is it for gold. So we're going to look at Euro USD. Euro USD is a very tactful one. Today is a very slow one for Euro. So we have been able to define our trend using our trend line. Let's use this. Let's define this our trend. So we mapping out our supply and demand zone. This is our supply. Now this is a downtrend, giving us a lower highs and lower lows, creating an opportunity for a price rejection. But another price rejection you should look out. We have a zone. This is it. This is the zone. This is our zone. This is our zone. Have a zone here. So take note of this. Now the market is currently at a resistance point to the buyers. Now look at it. The market sold down here. So from this point, sold down, consolidate, get to this zone, clear all stops, move down here, giving you lower lows and lower highs, and sold down here, moving here and continue itself. So if price gets to here and the market is in a zone, consolidation zone, a resistance zone, you are expected to do what? Nothing. So at this point in time, if price is able to break out from this zone, then it is expected that the market will go bullish and probably respect this resistance and continue its downward movement. But if market resists the buyers, the market is going to go bearish. So two things are involved. So but at this particular zone, we can't say anything for sure because the market is on a resistance zone to the buyers, but still on a downtrend. So what you do, go to a lower time frame and look for your entry points and exit points and fill in. So this is what we have for you for our daily analysis for today. So take note, this is brought by you by CJC Market. My name still remains Jefta Amadi from CJC Market. I thank you all for those of us who are joining us from WhatsApp. Mr. Ranji joining us from India. We thank you for joining us today. You're highly welcome. Please, we are expecting you to join us tomorrow with your students on our daily analysis for today. So for those of us who are just joining us, please take note of our fundamental analysis because today fundamentals has the market. Today we have over 15 high impact news. So today fundamental has the market. So Thank you very much for those of us who are joining us today. So don't forget, today we have our online class by 3 p.m. today, 3 to 4 p.m. Then the second batch will take from 4 to 5 p.m. Contact anybody who invited you to our daily analysis, or for those of us joining us from Asaba, for those of us joining us from Lagos, Abuja, and Port Harcourt. Please and please join us tomorrow on our daily analysis again, 8:30 p.m. every morning. So don't forget, this is brought by you by CJC. And please take note of our fundamental analysis, because today is going to be a good one. Trust me, if you are not making money from the Forex market from what we just analyzed today, just me $50, at least you should make at least $50 from it. So nobody ate my $20 today. So let's keep it tomorrow. Let's see who eats my $20 tomorrow. Today, happy World Bank holiday, and have a very blessed trading day.